Welcome to Crypto Kid Podcast. So today I have a guest. His name is Jack Gibson, and he's an entrepreneur. Founded a couple of businesses, has a podcast, wrote a couple of books. And Mr. Jack, why don't you give us a quick introduction in your own words and tell us how you got into the blockchain space and Bitcoin mining?
Yeah, Sonny, thanks for having me. I'm excited to talk to your audience and give them value. I've got 5 businesses, actually. We can talk about the pros and cons of that. It sounds great when you first hear that, but then there's a deeper layer of complexity to it. But just to back up, kind of what led me into crypto, I got into entrepreneurship back when I was 19, so I'm 45 now. Can't believe that.
Wow.
So 26 years in business. I started in a direct sales, multi-level marketing, nutrition business. And that was all I did for 15 straight years. Like I stayed laser focused, went all in and grew that to a multi-million dollar business. And still to this day, it's churning and cranking and it's fantastic. And then from there, I got started into real estate because I was looking for a place. Well, where do I put my money? I put it into stocks. Stocks dropped as soon as I bought them. So I'm like, what can I buy that's not going to drop as soon as I buy it? Right. Mm-hmm. And so I got into real estate for more of a cash flow, passive income play, more of a stable asset class. Then I started a real estate company because I was loving being in the game. So I started sharing the game with other people and they wanted property. And then pretty soon I had a partner and I had a marketing business and it really took off. And we still have that today, high return real estate. We help investors get like single family homes, turnkey properties where they can immediately buy them and collect the rent every month. And then in addition, we do syndicated deals like self-storage is a great asset to own because it's very stable and it kicks off incredible cash. And now car wash. We're in car washes. I couldn't believe how much money car washes make. I mean, like driving by the car wash here in town, I'm like, it's just your average boring business, but they just print money. So then I don't know how long I've been in the blockchain, 3-4 years. You know what happened, Sonny? I'm whipping up a smoothie in my little smoothie shop, right? We have about 200 of those around the Midwest. And I was in the one we owned. And this guy comes in, Lance, the landscaper, pretty average guy, real nice dude. But he starts talking about how he bought 10 Bitcoin when it was at $1,000 a piece. And when he walked in at that time, I think it was right around like 25,000, right? It was just starting to hit its bull market. And I thought to myself, like, I've got to have at least a piece of this action. I feel like I was missing out on it. So I said, okay, before I dive in though, I got to learn it. I don't want to just jump in because other people are doing it. Other people are making money. And that's the surest way I think to lose money is chasing returns. So when I get into something, I want to know that I want to be in it for 5 years or more if I'm going to invest into something. So I don't want to invest in something just to try to make a quick buck or to catch a wave, because usually what happens is if you try to buy into somebody else's momentum, by the time you bought in, the momentum is dying. So
exactly.
I didn't want to do that. I've done that before. I did that back in 2000 in the tech stocks and then they crashed because, I got in and didn't really understand what I was buying and all of that. So I got a bunch of different research and I started figuring out how I wanted to allocate my portfolio. And so that's how I got started. So I don't know how we want to get into the Bitcoin mining deal, but wherever you want to take it.
Okay. Yeah, no, there's a lot of stuff and we could probably talk about this all day long. And I was thinking about getting into real estate myself. And it's very profitable in the long term. In the long-term run. And actually have a friend that does real estate and he does it through the blockchain. And he's so busy and I'm so busy, so we really don't have time to talk, but he actually went to a blockchain real estate conference in Miami. And I'm really looking forward to hearing about his experience with that, because I would have loved to attend that if I knew about it at the time. And
yeah.
Yeah.
I love that idea of real estate on the blockchain, because then you can own a fractional piece of a property without having to buy into the whole deal, right? So I think that's a brilliant way to play real estate, especially if you're just getting started and you don't have the experience. Like, that's a way to get in and start learning with, some of them I think you can get started for $100. So love it.
Exactly. And it's a personal finance, becoming smarter with keeping the money you earn too. And that's like one of the topics I wanted to talk about. Like, what are your thoughts about personal finance and to become smarter with your money and keeping your money earned?
Yeah, I mean, the first step of accumulating wealth is, if you don't follow this step, then you have really no chance. Mm-hmm. That's the fundamental step. Is rule number one: live below your means. And, that's tough for a lot of people to do. I mean, most Americans do not do it. The statistics show that, most people don't have any savings. In fact, I just did a little short form video. I forget what my number was, but it's something like 40, 50, 60% of Americans, if they have $1,000 emergency, like, they don't have the money to pay for it. So that, to me, is very sad, but it's also just shows a lack of disciplines, because even if you don't earn much money, I mean, you can still live below your means and live lean and bank money. Because look, I mean, Murphy's Law is always going to hit you, which is something can go wrong. It will go wrong. Well, that's life. You're going to have a lot of things go wrong. You need to have banked cash to be able to fend off those emergencies so that they don't become, life altering. One person, their tire blows out and it's a traumatic event. And for another person that has banked cash, it's just no problem. It doesn't even register. That's all has to do with how much do you live below your means. I'm pretty aggressive on that. I think about 50% if you can. I mean, if you really want to get wealthy quick, about 7 to 10 years, if you live on 50% of what you earn, then you have a really good shot of becoming very, very wealthy, no matter what you earn. And I definitely have made mistakes, in the past, but I think, honestly, one of the biggest things you can do in personal finance, beyond, making sure that you pay off high interest debt, because that's the plague when it comes to your finances and building wealth. So that's the number one thing. Always attack your higher interest debt. Get rid of it. It's a virus in your life. It has to go. Mm-hmm. And but the other thing is taxes. I mean, most of the money, that the biggest expense of your lifetime by far is taxes. You will pay the most out of that over housing, over food, over automobile. So you got to start to learn as you grow your income. The taxes become larger. So there's things that you can do to ethically and legally reduce your taxes that a lot of people just don't do. And think it's just because it's such a boring subject. It's something that, like, what am I going to do? Read a book on taxes, or I'm going to watch the next Netflix show that shows up with the algorithm, right? Of course, you're never going to read about taxes. I mean, it's terrible, right? But you've got to learn some basic core principles of how to reduce them, because otherwise, I know a lot of guys, Sonny, that make multi-six-figure a year incomes, and they have nothing left at the end of the year because of taxes. They just aren't smart with them. They don't understand. They haven't bothered to learn how to get them down.
Wow. I'm glad you brought that up. And in my view about this topic that we're talking about right now, it's just like, I feel like people are not educated enough, especially in the school system. And they're like, they don't even teach you, at least when I was going to high school, they didn't even teach you about taxes.
No.
And I'm 18 years old and I'm figuring out what is a W-2, what is all this. And then when I started my own business, or subcontracting, like there's thing where you have to pay taxes at the end of the year. 1040, 10 W-40, something like that.
Yeah. You can,
Like,
there's different ways like 1099.
yeah,
Is,
that's what it
yeah,
is.
that's probably what you're referring to.
And
That's where you're more of an independent contractor. So your taxes are not withheld. That becomes a real problem.
mhm.
Glad you brought that up, because that's where you can really get into trouble when you're paid the full amount of, like, say you charge $100, get an invoice, payment for $100. Well, normally if you work a W-2, a job, there's $30 is going to be taken out of that
Mhm.
and withheld. And you don't get into tax trouble that way because your money's automatically forced, to the government. Well, if you're an independent contractor, that doesn't happen. So you get the full amount. So you got to be responsible and save and pay those in yourself. So what I do, I pay monthly automatically. That way I'm covered for the year. So in taxes, as long as you pay in what you paid in the previous year. So let's say I paid, I don't know, easy numbers. I like simple math. You paid in $100,000 in taxes, and everybody's probably listening to that thinking, God, I never want to pay $100,000 in taxes in a year. Yes, you do, because that means you probably made like $600,000, $700,000, $800,000 that year. So yes, you want to pay $100,000. You want to be a happy taxpayer. You just don't want to pay more than your fair share. So when you get that $100,000 tax bill for the previous year, as long as in this current year you pay in $100,000, you cannot get penalized. And trust me, you do not want to mess with the IRS. I know several guys that for whatever reason didn't pay their taxes, and it is so ugly. It's worse than high interest debt because they assess so many penalties and fees and interest, and then lawyer fees and legal fees, and it's really awful. So just pay in monthly and you'll never have a problem. And I just set it up automatically. So it's just drafted every month and I don't have to think about it. I don't have to discipline myself. My processes and systems discipline me for me.
Okay. And you probably have a CPA that covers all that.
Of
right?
course.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. When you're first getting started, Sonny, you're not as a younger kid. You said you're 18. You're really 18?
No. When I first started.
Oh, okay.
When I got out of, yeah.
You look young. Okay.
I'm
but
30.
I was like, I don't know.
I could pass as an 18-year-old.
You really could. You could.
But yeah, I'm 30. So I know it was kind of clever naming the podcast Crypto Kid because I knew I looked young. So I just went with it.
How old did you say you were?
30.
Oh, you're 30. Okay. I thought you said 20. Right? I'm like, yeah, you could pass for 22. 30 years old. You're still a kid. All right. Trust me. So it still fits.
Oh, but, yeah.
I've got that. I've got a great CPA and he's expensive. And, when I first got started in business, I'm making, 60, 70, 80 grand a year. I wasn't paying a CPA but my taxes were very, very simple, right? As you continue to grow your income and you scale and you add more investments and you add more businesses, you want to get the best. You want to pay expensive CPAs because they're going to end up saving you a lot of money. Exactly.
And going back to real estate, I know I'm flip-flopping around.
Yeah, right.
But real estate investing to anchor your portfolio and provide stability to crypto volatility.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I have a strong opinion about that one. Look, I love crypto and I think that it is the future. I think that the blockchain is one of the greatest, inventions of all time. I think it's going to change our lives in so many ways that we haven't even begun to imagine. 10 years, a decade from now, the blockchain is going to be in every single area of our life. Every single day we will be using the blockchain, crypto. It is going to be enormous in scope, but it is going to be a very wild ride. As we've already seen, that's not going to settle down anytime soon. We are going to see a tremendous amount of volatility with crypto. And that's a great part about it. If it's the more volatile it is, then we can make more money faster, but we also therefore can lose money quicker too, right? Mm-hmm. So I believe personally, especially if you're an entrepreneur, okay, if you have a business, you already have a volatile business or income, okay? You cannot escape it as a business owner. You do not have stable and predictable income. You have cycles, you have seasons, you have things that are going to go well. You're going to have problems that are going to hit you and they're going to hurt your income. You're already on a roller coaster ride as an entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. Why on earth would you add that much more volatility and go all in on crypto? Like all in on your business? Yes. Then all in with all your money in crypto? I don't think that's smart at all. So for me, real estate is my stabilizing force. My businesses go up and down. I don't know what I'm going to make from one year to the next. I have a general idea, but I still see fluctuations, right? Even with a 25-year-old business, it still has some pretty steep fluctuations. So real estate, though, is much more stable. It's much more predictable. And, it's a great cash flowing business. So I personally, I like to just play Monopoly with real estate. This is how I teach people. Mm-hmm. I teach my kid the same thing. I've been playing Monopoly with the kids, my boys, since they were 4. I do not let them win, though. They don't get to win anything. They have to earn it from me, right? And they beat me in the game, which is cool. But real estate is almost the same. Like I look at it as, okay, here's the way I look at it. When you buy a property, right, you land on Boardwalk and that's the one you want, right? Everybody knows that's a game changer. When you buy the property, I equate that to investing into real estate in either the blockchain or in a crowdfunded type situation like a Fundrise. You're going to make a little bit of money. I mean, you're going to get maybe a 6, 8, 10% return on investment, right? It's probably about it on those types of deals. Okay. Well, now you start adding the greenhouses, right? Mm-hmm. And this is where you want to start elevating up, where you're going to save up, 20, 30, 40, 50 grand, put a down payment on a property, a rental property. Just buy one single family home to start. Okay. You don't need to go crazy. Just start with basics, learn the game, get one single family home. That's what I did. I had one single family home for like 5 years as a rental. Right. And then I started adding more, but you get to the 4 greenhouses. So it means you start stacking up rental property. And then the goal is to trade those in for the one red hotel, right? That's how you win the game. When somebody lands, you played Monopoly, right, Sonny?
Yes, absolutely.
What happens when, you and I are playing each other, you land on my Boardwalk with a red hotel on it.
I owe you a lot of money.
You owe me a lot of money. Right? Usually it's a game changer, right?
Yes.
I mean, you could shifts the game a lot of times, just that one single event, right? Well, the way I look at the red hotel is syndication. These are larger deals. These are getting into like big deals, like a big self-storage building or a big multi-family apartment building, or it could be into a car wash. This is where you pool investor money with other larger investors. Usually the deals are anywhere from a minimum of 50 to 100,000. Mm-hmm. You got to be accredited. So that means you got to make over 200K a year, filing single, or 300K filing jointly. And that's how you have to qualify, but then you get access to these deals that are bigger, more profitable. They, the deals that I'm in, they make 20, 25, 30% annualized returns with a lot less work and hassle. So that's the game. You just keep working your way up. Start with, you get some basic property, get some rental houses, trade them in, and ultimately you want to get into syndicated deals.
For sure. I was actually looking at this one property. So the reason why I was looking at this one property is because I had some inside information from my mother that her boyfriend's mother's losing the house, and because she's not paying the property taxes on it. Yeah. And I heard that you can, if you pay the property tax for the house, you can take that house. Am I correct? Am I on the right path here?
Yeah.
So
the bank will foreclose on them, and then they'll put that house up for sale, usually at a discount. Sometimes you can kind of swoop in and buy the house, before that foreclosure happens, if you have connections to the seller, the owner.
Yeah, and I was looking at the county website, and it's just seeing like, is this person paying their taxes? Is there any way like I could get in on it? Because she was actually paying her taxes. I don't know why they said she wasn't, but she was making the payments for it.
Yep.
And they were relatively cheap because she owned the house in full. So I was like, oh man, I wanted to turn that into an Airbnb and like start getting a return on my funds, and so I was just like thinking like, this is something that I would really want to do. And then I want to get my broker's license because I want to be able to look at properties, buy them, and just turn them into hotels, Airbnbs. And that's just would be a great way to invest my crypto money, my podcast money, my detailing money into something. Because an average millionaire here has like 7 sources of income.
Yep.
So just always pushing forward and moving on.
Yeah, no, that's a smart play. I love the way you're thinking. And yeah, I mean, some houses work really well for an Airbnb and some don't, some areas do, some don't. So I like a good mix, to kind of stabilize my portfolio. We have some long-term tenants, on a 1 or 2 year leases. And then we have what we're finding though is midterm rentals where you get it like a 90 day, 3 month to a 6 month lease where you have the house furnished. Those seem to be the sweet spot for us that we've found because, you don't have the turnover that you do with a short-term rental, but plus your property's leased the entire time. It's kind of like a sweet spot right between the two. So we've been doing a lot of those with a lot of success.
Like a seasonal rental, like when people go up north.
More to like a corporate client, maybe a traveling nurse is who we typically see. They travel quite a bit, so they need a short-term stay. So that's typically who we're renting to, but not, it could be, get all types of renters in those situations. Great.
Now I want to switch to crypto here for a little bit. So describe the company's mining efforts as a strategic business. Is your company doing mining? Is what I'm implying?
Yes. Yeah. We're started off. So I'm not the technical wizard here, right? So don't ask me the technical questions because I don't know.
Okay.
Right. I know the basics.
Yeah. Just
I've got
basics.
a partner. I've got a partner who's the nerd and the geek, and he's brilliant. I love him. Right.
He's probably going to be listening to this like, oh man, you should have said this.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, well, then you get on your own podcast. We started mining Ethereum. So backing up, we had done projects together. Like I said, he's a technical wizard. And about a decade ago, it was almost 10 years ago, we started working together, building out a body transformation system to where people could load up their before and after pictures to be kind of judged. It was a contest where we paid out cash to people based on their transformations. So we had this system. It was janky. It wasn't working well. And he sent me a message and say, hey man, I can build you a new system. And I'm like, yes, God, this is like serendipity. So he built out this whole system from scratch. And we just, we became partners on this deal, right? So then I see him post on Facebook. We hadn't really talked about it, but he posted on Facebook. He was, mining Bitcoin. And I'm like, dude, like, can I get in on this with you? Like, I've got the money. I'll put up the capital and, like you've got the expertise. Like, I don't know how to do what you do. And I don't want to know. Want to know how to do what you do. I like to, live in my own little bubble. So, but I'm like, I'll put up the money, let's go. And you can get a piece of my mining rewards for managing it for me. So, we started mining Ethereum. That was successful for, good 18 months. And then of course they went to proof of stake, and then all the miner profits were evaporated. So I've got a bunch of game cards that I'm sitting on waiting for the next coin that makes sense, to come up to then use those cards. So those are just kind of sitting dormant right now. So that is a risk with mining. But with Bitcoin, we realized, okay, I want more Bitcoin. I love Bitcoin. It's the mother of all cryptos, right? It's an incredible store of value. It's digital gold. Taking it maybe one step further, it's the only sound money in human history that have met all 4 criteria of sound money. So I know this is the future. Like Bitcoin's not going anywhere. Institutional capital is interested in Bitcoin. Mm-hmm. I want to get in. So what I thought was, okay, I'm a bit too late on Bitcoin is what I was thinking, right? Because it was up to, in the 20s by the time I'd gotten interested. So I'm like, okay, if we mine it, we can mine it cheaper than the market price. Well, I always want discounts. I want better deals. So if you mine it, and you're just patient, and over the course of time, just let the machines go to work, you're going to get in cheaper than market price. So that's why I got started in it. And then we had a lot of extra space because we bought a huge 40-foot shipping container, essentially what you'd see on the back of a semi. And it got converted into a mining facility, a hosting facility. So we can fit 300 machines in there. And I don't have them. I mean, to put the amount of capital that you would need to fill that up with, 300 machines is, a few millions. I don't have that kind of liquid money. I don't want to put that much, risk in. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to start offering these slots to other investors. So 5 of my buddies, I told them about what I was doing, and they each put in a chunk of change into it, and they bought machines, and, we got them up and running, and, it's still profitable even where Bitcoin is today. It's still actually very profitable, especially with the new machines, the S19s. So,
all right.
Yeah. What else can I tell you? I feel like there's a lot more to it.
There is. But dude, I'm glad you're sharing it. I'm glad you're explaining what and you're being very honest, like very transparent. Like, hey, you can't really tell me too much about technical. I have another guy. I'm assuming he's your partner, right? Just like, yes. He's my partner, and that's his thing. So like your thing would be more towards real estate. Am I right? Or like, am I wrong?
No, I mean, yeah, I think real estate is probably mostly my jam. I mean, I've been doing that for, almost 8 years, and we've done millions and millions of dollars in sales in that. Yeah, I mean, I understand everything I need to be able to explain it to somebody. So I'm more the sales and marketing arm. And my partner Adam's more the tech behind the scenes guy.
You're like the Steve Jobs.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. I got to get out and, market and talk to people about it. But I know enough to be at least to have a fluid conversation in most cases.
That's great. That's great, because this is something that we do need to know, and we should keep educating ourselves, because this is inevitable. It's going to happen. I think this was before we started recording. You said that this is going to be the future of the world. Like everything's going to go on the blockchain.
Oh yeah.
And absolutely.
Well, I mean, just think about how, everything is going to be tokenized. In other words, everything is going to be broken down into smaller pieces of ownership. So for example, maybe the Mona Lisa, at some point you could own a tiny piece of the Mona Lisa because you have it's secured on the blockchain with NFTs. I mean, that's insane to even think about, that you could own a piece of that, right?
I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
That's mainly thanks to Ethereum. So that's why I love Ethereum, and I keep trying to buy as much Ethereum as I can, because almost all the apps, the apps are built on Ethereum network. So it's kind of like the Apple. It's the Apple Store. Ethereum is the blockchain version of the Apple Store. How many people that build an app, where do they put it? They build it into the Apple Store, right? So how does that, it's the same thing with Ethereum. That's why it's going to be one of the world's most valuable assets.
Yeah, Bitcoin's not going to stay king forever. I know a lot of people don't like that when I say it, but hey, it's the truth.
It's very possible Ethereum could become larger in market cap than Bitcoin. Very possible. Now, I don't know that to be sure because Bitcoin being the store of value, whereas Ethereum has a lot more usage. Typically, though, when you look at things in the world, things that have incredible usage or real life usage, over time, they usually become more valuable than a store of value.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So tell me about the books that you wrote.
I wrote 2 books. One's just a little mini ebook I give away for free on my site. It's 12 dependable passive income investments. So it's essentially what do I put my money into to create additional streams of safer passive income? And there's some on there that I wouldn't call them safe, but for the most part, they're pretty dependable and replenishing ways to put your money to work so you could have more streams of cash flow coming in. And I think for an entrepreneur, especially, you need some additional forms of income coming in every month that are totally separate from your business, so that when you do have those down months, you're not really carrying so much, like it doesn't really affect you emotionally because you got other things coming in. So that was, it's only like a 35 page guidebook. Any of the listeners can grab it for free on my site, myindestructiblewealth.com. And just as soon as you get there, the little pop up will show up and you can enter it and download it right there. And then, I wrote another book called Building Indestructible Wealth. It's more of like a long form book, 200 pages, I think. That's all about my investing journey and how I view, building a multi-million-dollar portfolio. It's a digital format right now. So it's a PDF and an audio book, and it's only $5.
Nice.
Yeah. So then I'm going to do a slight rewrite, this year, and then I'm going to launch it on Amazon end of this year, maybe next year.
Okay. Excellent. Now, why did you start the Indestructible Wealth podcast?
Well, I was having some pretty good success in, my first 2 businesses, and I realized I was kind of missing something. Like I felt like I was not living maybe according to my purpose or why God put me on this earth. Mm-hmm. And I realized that, the only way to really fill that kind of hole or that gap was to create more fulfillment. So that's the way I think of it. Success comes from what you get, but fulfillment comes from what you give. So Indestructible Wealth was my way of kind of giving back of a lot of the knowledge and experience I've accumulated over the years, and mistakes and success. I'm very transparent with what's worked and what hasn't. And so this is my kind of outlet to try to mentor younger men and women who are hungry for success and maybe hungry for fulfillment, but they're not quite sure what that purpose really looks like for them. So try to work on that. So, I talk about too many subjects on it. So I'm going to try to consolidate it in what they say, niche down. Right. But I talk a lot about entrepreneurship, personal finance, and real estate, and then some crypto as well.
Amazing. That's amazing. Now, how can people work with you?
Just go to my website, myindestructiblewealth.com. We're going to launch a academy, the Indestructible Wealth Academy, with my real estate partner. And we're going to teach investors how to buy property effectively. The goal is you go through the program and you're going to be able to buy 10 rental properties within 2 years. And now that's if you come to the table with some resources. And mainly that's probably designed for people that are making closer to a 6-figure income. But if you do the program and for anybody that's not making that kind of money, you can get to we'll be able to help you acquire the 10 properties, but it probably would take more like a 5-year period.
Oh, great. So man, what's next for you? What's the next big plan? Is there any events that you're going to be at? Is there going to be where people could meet you in person?
I don't do a lot of events or traveling right now. My kids are still, teenagers, and I want to be there for them. Like, this is my original purpose of getting into business, was to be a present father and to just design and live an extraordinary life with my kids. I mean, last night I got home at midnight from Montana, Big Sky, Montana. I took my kids, snowboarding for a week. It was incredible. And that's what I want to do. So that's all my travel is right now. I think when they're gone in a few years, I'll be hitting the speaking circuit and doing kind of more of those types of things. But for now, I just like to kind of chill with my kids.
Really excited. Thank you, for you taking your time to spend with me. I'm really honored. I know you're a busy guy. You got like 7 other things going on. So like 5 other things.
It's funny. I'm not that busy. You'd be surprised. I have great teams. That's the key. If you want to have multiple businesses and you want to live like a good quality of life, you've got to have great team. You got to have great leaders. You got to have people that you can totally rely upon to, run the operations and run your businesses while you're doing whatever you're doing, right? So people kind of naturally assume I'm super busy. I'm really not. It's shocking sometimes how bored I get. But that gives me a chance, I get to take those moments and create more content to push out, into the marketplace. And I believe that, if you're in business and you're not pushing out content, wow, you're missing out. You're missing out on a lot. I think I gave advice. I had a kid. He asked me, he's 24. He said, what advice would you give me? And I said, look, the most important thing you can do right now by far is build your own personal digital brand. Just start now. I wish I had started 10 years ago. I wish, if I could have known what I know today, I would have been pushing out lots and lots of valuable content, trying to help a specific audience solve their problem, and just keep doing that over and over and over again, and not worrying about how much money I make. Because you do that enough, you're just going to have a steady stream of leads coming to you that you won't have to work so hard to generate business. You won't have to hustle and grind so hard. And I mean, my whole life, all my business, all my success has been just from Jack hustling 12 hours a day, to try to generate leads and new business. And I have lots of regrets on that because, I missed the first 5 years of my kids' lives. I was hustling 12 to 14 hours a day. And if I could go back in time, I would have created a great content distribution system, pushed out valuable content out into the world, and I would have had a steady stream of leads. Now it takes time for it to kick in. It could take 2 or 3 years for it to really kick in. But if you play the long game, this is what you're doing, Sonny. You got it. I mean, you're pushing out content on your podcast. Like, I'm sure you have other distribution channels going to, push out content. What else are you on? Instagram?
Yes, exactly. Facebook. Yeah. And I do that for my boat detailing. I do that for boat rentals. And it's a grind. It's a grind for sure. Exactly. And I admire everything that you're saying and I look up to you because you're an old gentleman, and you have the experience. And a way for someone to learn is look at someone that's already done it before. And I was just remember when I was 18 years old, I was working construction, doing the 9-to-5 gigs and just bouncing job to job. I'm just like, I just don't want to work for anybody anymore.
Yeah.
I want to be able to live life on my own terms and do the things that I want. And I want to be able to hire people to run the business for me, or in my case, like businesses, and just have more time to do things. And it's just, and I had to do this all on my own. I had to learn by myself on doing YouTube tutorials, buying classes. I even went to college, and I was just like, this fucking shit is not really for me. Yeah. And I was like,
you don't really make shit anyways from, that. So you're in the right path.
Exactly. And just wanting to put a few dents in the universe, like being someone that, how do I put it? Let's just say legendary, like someone that could write books about me or make movies, and just like that guy did it. No one taught him how to do it. He had to do it all on his own. And that's just pretty much the fact. If you want to make it out there, you're going to have to put in the work, put in the hours, and just, we literally have the world at our fingertips. You could learn anything you want in a matter of seconds, minutes, months, years. As long as you put in 10,000 hours, you become an expert at it.
Yes.
So
spot on. I'm reading a book. I think it should be like required reading in schools, but it won't be. So everybody needs to focus on self-education, like what you were just talking about. Mm-hmm. But if you want a story, probably the most motivating story of perseverance and being humble and being legendary, the book called The Wright Brothers. It's obviously about Orville and Wilbur Wright, who were the first ones to get a plane up in the air, right?
Exactly.
I mean, I can't even believe how incredible these two guys were. Like, I remember seeing them and reading about them and being at the museum and seeing their first, the plane that they flew at Kitty Hawk. And I was 10 or 12, so I didn't appreciate it. But being a little bit, older, you start to think like what they went through and what they had to do. I mean, everybody should pick up this book immediately, because if you're in business or whatever path you're chosen, you will definitely learn about what it takes to be legendary, what it takes to triumph, what it takes to go get through adversity. And you'll start to realize the problems that you have to solve are really nothing compared to what they had to go through.
Mm-hmm. All right. And so what's the most important aspect of building indestructible wealth?
Well, there's the first step, which I think is the most important, we already talked about, which is live below your means. The second one, I believe, if you really want to have indestructible wealth, you either build a business or buy one. You can buy one because the startup stage is really, really hard. Aging baby boomers want to retire, but they also want to monetize and capture the value from their businesses. So, I think it's one of the greatest opportunities of the next decade is to buy existing businesses from baby boomers who want to retire, but they want their business to carry on. They want to make money selling it, right? We just bought a tax firm, my real estate partners. We bought a tax firm from a 73-year-old guy. He just didn't want to do it anymore. He wanted to kind of chill. I don't blame him. If I'm hitting 73, I probably want to be on the golf course every day. Mm-hmm. So we bought it, and then, we've increased sales. I think we've tripled sales since we bought it just 8 months ago. So you can do that. But I think that's step two. Because if you look at how wealth is created in America, most people who are millionaires are business owners. And then the third part is take the profits and your excess cash from living below your means and from your business's profits, pop that money into real estate, get it into, something safe and solid. And, then you take those streams that are coming in and put those into crypto. Like, that's how I play crypto, is I'm playing with house money. I'm not putting my own money in. I'm putting my tenants' money in. Their tenants are paying me to rent my house, right? So I'm using their money to buy crypto. So if crypto blows up and it doesn't work out, that money just replenishes the next month. And then guess what I'll do? I'll fire again. I'll buy more crypto. So, but at least it gets me off that, volatility, the just this up and down game that I think a lot of young kids play, where they put, too much of their investment allocation into crypto. Just be smart with it. Get in the game, get your crypto for sure. But, I would have some fundamentals in place first. That's how long-term wealth is truly built.
All right. The way I sucker my friends into getting into cryptos, I'm just like, so Coinbase, Binance US have a thing where if you sign up, you get like $5 of cryptocurrency or whatever. So that I'm just like, dude, that $5 could turn into $100. And they're just like, really? I could afford to lose $5 here and there.
Yeah.
So that's what gets them in. And as they see it grow, they're just like, all right, maybe Sonny's onto something. All right, so I'm going to put in a little bit more. And I always say, don't put in what you're not willing to afford to lose. Like, don't put your life savings in there.
100%.
And your wife will leave you, get a divorce, you'll take the kids, and you'll be a sad dog.
Then you end up in a ditch, and like that one movie goes, just an endless chain of bad things happen. Mm-hmm. I think you nailed it. If you're going to Vegas, what would you take to Vegas? You're probably going to lose it. And so, that's what you should put in cryptos, whatever you're willing to lose, because there's a possibility that will happen. Now, I think, if you're putting into Bitcoin, Ethereum, my portfolio, I'd have to look at it. I think at least 50%, 60% is between those two coins, right? And then the rest are into some nice quality altcoins. I have never gotten into the meme coins, the meme bets. I know I'm not against anybody who does. I just wanted to buy something that I wouldn't have to worry about trying to trade or time it. And I knew that those types of projects were definitely going to be a big spike and then a big bust. So I just wanted to get into stuff that I would be proud to own for the next 5 to 10 years, let those projects and developers do their thing and let those grow. And so I just didn't want to be trying to figure out how to time the market. I think that's a very, very tough game to try to figure out.
Yeah. And another thing, whenever I see people buy lottery tickets at the gas station, I'm just like, you'll have a better chance getting Bitcoin, and there would be a Bitcoin ATM machine right there next to them. I'm just like, you should just go buy some of that. I promise you'll get a return on your investment.
Yeah. And, they've got Bitcoin credit card now with rewards. Those are awesome, because every time, you swipe, you're getting a little piece of Bitcoin coming in. And I think those are amazing. So get one of those if you want to get into crypto with a little bit safer, right? I think you're giving great advice, Sonny. I mean, I'm totally aligned. I think you just got to be smart with it and buy it and hold it. And here's one other thing I really wanted to say. Now I got it. Mm-hmm. If you bought in crypto, we know Bitcoin, the all-time high was like 69K, right? 69 and change. And I know people that bought in at that point, I'm sure, and they have a lot of regrets. They think, man, was I stupid? Or, I think you were smart buying it at 69K. I do. And I think that if you sold it, okay, that was a mistake. But if you bought it at 69K and you're still holding on for dear life, you made a really smart decision, because when it goes to 500K, you're going to look back on it and be like, oh, wow, well, 69K was cheap. So I wouldn't regret it. If anybody listening bought in towards the top of the market, just hold on. I mean, it's going to come roaring back. It is absolutely going to at least 100K min. That is I feel like I can almost guarantee that's going to happen. I mean, I'm not going to back it up with my own money, but I don't see how there's any chance that doesn't happen. I think we're going to 500K within the next 5 years, maybe 2030 at the latest. We'll be at 500K. And you're going to look back and be like, wow, I was really smart buying this. Right now you don't feel smart. You feel like an idiot, but you're not. You got into something. You got into one of the world's most valuable assets. You should be like patting yourself on the back. I'm smart.
There you go, man. Yeah, back in 2017, and Bitcoin reached over 20K. That's when I started buying, and then it started going down again. It
went down to 3.
Yeah, and I was like, shit.
Yeah,
and everybody's talking. talking bad about me. I'm just like, I'm not selling this. I'm not because I'm a true believer and I'm going to stick to my guns and I'm going to take the bullet on this one. And, I'm going to hold on and see what happens in the future because I truly believe that this is something that's already changed the world in so many ways. And we just need more people involved. And I'm just like, that's when I started my podcast. I was like, a way that I could help society and with their finances, I wanted to start a podcast and get people on board with financial freedom. And I thought Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies were going to be a great value to us. And
are you still holding that from 17?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
I am not
You're
sold.
Genius.
I am not sold.
No, you're not up, right? You're not up that much right now, but I mean, you're going to be. And the next bull run is happening in the next 12 months when the Bitcoin halving comes next year. I mean, we know that when supply drops in half, well, if demand stays the same, which I think demand's only going to go up over the next year, I think you're going to see a meteoric rise over some point over the next 12 months. We're going to probably see a drawback. I wouldn't be surprised, over the next 90 days. I don't know that for sure, but I wouldn't be surprised. It could probably it's probably a 50-50 bet. But I think over the next, 12 to 15 months, you could accumulate as much as you responsibly can accumulate. You're going to be in a great position. So yeah, you were smart. I love that move.
Thank you. And then what I also do is whenever I sell things that I don't want, I go to Facebook Marketplace, put on the price. I'm like, all right, I'm only accepting cryptocurrencies. No. So just junk, literally junk that just lays around my house. And you're just like, all right, I don't want that anymore. So I'm sure somebody else would want this piece of furniture. And some people, I'm surprised, some people actually paid me in cryptocurrencies for my junk.
I love it.
So it's just like,
that's 5 years from now, 10 at the most. If you don't accept crypto as in your business, you'll be out of business. Like that's where we're headed. Like if you don't accept it, it'd be like today, the equivalent of not accepting credit cards. Now, I know there's businesses that can get away with it, but for the most part, if you're not accepting, credit cards in your business, you're probably losing some sales, right? Well, it's just going to be the same way. If you're not accepting crypto as payment, a few years from now, you're going to probably be losing a lot of business. So that's where we're going.
I'm glad you brought that up because I was just talking to my website designer and I was telling her, I was like, can you please add Bitcoin as a payment on there? She's like, I never done that before. I'm like, well, you can make it work. You're the best. You do a really great job. And that's just something I want to start accepting instead of Visa or cash or checks. So I'm trying to level up my game.
Yeah. Yeah. One other thing I wanted to add before we close out, I was just going to say, anybody who's looking at Bitcoin, right? And again, it's my top coin because I think that it's the safest bet out of all of them. I don't think it's got the most upside from here by any stretch. You're going to probably, put some money into some great alts that are on the cheap right now. But Bitcoin it's not going anywhere. I mean, it's got the 4 principles of sound money, right? It's decentralized. In other words, there's no central authority that exchange that's running it. We don't have to worry about a bank going under like Bitcoin Bank is not going under because of some idiots that are running it. It's scarce. There's 21 million coins. There'll never be more than that. And then it's easily transferable. In other words, gold is a great store of value, right? But it's not easily transferable. If I want to pay you in gold, I can't pay you in gold, right? I mean, it's too hard. It's too. If I have a brick of gold, I can't buy anything with that brick, right? Even if I have a gold coin, it's very difficult to pay somebody with. And then the fourth one. So it's I don't even know what the fourth one is. have to read my blog. Maybe it's getting late, but yeah, there's four of them. those three pretty much covered most of it.
Where are you located? Are you in Indiana?
I'm in Michigan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was looking at the website. I think is your turn things around.
Yeah, I have my real estate company is headquartered in Indianapolis.
Okay.
Yeah, my whole team's there, and I'm 3 hours away. So I built that whole thing remotely, which I mean, that was a tough proposition, but we made it happen. It's called grinding. You grind. All
right. Yeah, I used to know somebody that he lived down here, and then he had a RV resort in Alabama. So he had a partner up there, and I was just running everything. But he eventually sold it.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I appreciate again coming on the show. I know it's getting late, and
it's all good, man. I totally enjoyed the interview. You did a great job, and we covered a lot of ground.
Yeah, and believe it or not, I didn't even cover like all the questions I wanted to. So I want to do this interview again later in the future. Do like a recap.
Yeah.
See how each other are doing, and
100%. I'm in. Just let me know.
All right. And good luck with your endeavors, and I'll see you around, dude.
All right. Thank you so much, Sonny. Good luck, man.
Take it easy.
All right. Have a good night.
Night.